Hey everybody, it's your friend Jason Pound here answering the top questions asked by home sellers in today's real estate market. The question we're tackling today, why did my deal bust? I thought I had my house sold and we were closing today. And now I find out we're not closing. What happened? Well, the short answer is because it wasn't meant to be. If you're a person of faith, you know that things are going to work out. If you do what you're supposed to do, the universe is going to balance itself out. It doesn't always work the way you planned. It doesn't always work the way you wanted. It doesn't always work the way you intended. It doesn't always choose the path of least resistance with least stress. But in the end, if you do what you're supposed to do, things are going to work out. Now that you've heard the short answer, the long answer, let me over-explain. There are four main areas of a real estate contract where you as the seller are taking a risk of busting the contract. And you need to be aware of these. The first one is called a TRR, Treatments, Repairs, and Replacements. In the state of Oklahoma, it is the buyer's right to inspect a property and then request treatments, such as termite treatments, repairs, such as foundation issues, and replacements, such as getting an entire new roof to close the deal. Most of the time, TRRs for the past 5 years have been relatively minuscule. We've had such low inventory in the housing market that there weren't enough houses to sell to all the buyers who wanted to buy. So the buyers are willing to take any house in any condition. We have moved away from that market into a balanced market, through the balanced market into a seller's market. And right now, there are more houses for sale than there are buyers willing to buy houses right now. So sellers are having sticker shock with the amount of treatments, repairs, and replacements that they're having to do right now. And many deals are falling apart because of that. Number two, appraisals. Very rarely is a bank going to be willing to lend you enough money to put you upside down in a vehicle or a house. The typical loan to value that's pretty common in first-time home buyers and experienced home buyers who don't have equity in their current home is 97.5%. So to keep the math easy for poor old Jason here, if you buy a $100,000 house, the maximum loan you're going to be able to get is $97,500. You are going to have to come up with the rest of that out of your own pocket or some grant or some down payment assistance program. If the home does not appraise for the purchase price, that typically busts the deal. However, like during COVID times, our record was $100,000 over appraised value that we sold a property for. But that is not the norm, and that was during a seller's market. We're now in a buyer's market where buyers are expecting the properties to be in pristine condition, and they are going to ask for treatments, repairs, and replacements, and they are not willing to go upside down to purchase a house and bring extra cash to the table. Not going to happen in today's market. Appraisals bust deals sometimes. The third thing is title work. In Oklahoma, I believe the land run was in 1889, I think. I could be wrong with my date there. But basically in Oklahoma, when you buy a house, you hire a title company to research the lineage of that property all the way back to 1889 and trace it from owner to owner to owner to owner to make sure that the property was legally changed, to make sure that the property legally changed ownership hands. You will not believe how many handshake deals there have been done in Oklahoma. And then when somebody has to get a loan, which requires an appraisal, which also requires title work. If you're getting a loan, you don't have a choice. If you're paying cash, you don't have to get title work. But you would be crazy if you didn't get title work. To research the ownership of the property, and if a blemish is found on that title work, depending on how the contract was written, most realtors leave that line blank so it defaults to 30 days to get title issues repaired. And if they're not taken care of, the seller can back out and take their earnest money. I personally write my contracts at 7 days or 10 days, depending on the situation. But if there is a cloud on the title work, something's wrong with the ownership chain, there are old liens that weren't known about. We have a deal falling apart right now. We were trying to buy for one of our buyers, and tax liens came up. And now the seller does not have enough money to sell the house, pay off the house, and pay off all the tax liens. So the deal's going to die because of title work. The fourth one is funding. You will not believe how common it is in Oklahoma that the day of closing, the moving trucks are full, the closing presents have been presented by the realtors to their clients, and then all of a sudden an emergency happens and everybody's on their phones and the paperwork is rustling and something went wrong with the loan process. And for whatever reason, that person is no longer approved. Maybe they bought a new car. Maybe they made a large transfer of funds into or out of their bank account. There's all sorts of crazy reasons why lenders approve a deal and then can't close a deal. If it's a habit of a lender, you need to avoid that lender. But it's impossible for a lender to be perfect their entire career. If somebody's 100%, they're probably doing something wrong. Eventually, sooner or later, underwriting is going to catch something that they don't like at the last minute, and they're going to decline the loan, and now your buyer doesn't have funds to buy your house, and you're left holding the bag, and you get to go back on the market. There are things that you can do each step of the way to try to protect yourself and to be strategic, but there is no surefire 100% way to guarantee that your contract is going to reach the closing table. You can just stack the odds in your favor, and that's what Jarek and I try to do, is stack the odds so that they may ever be in your favor. My name is Jason Pound with Jericho Pound Realty Group, Keller Williams Mullenix in Norman. We service the entire Oklahoma City metro area with hyper-local expertise in South Oklahoma City, more in Norman. If we can ever be of service, don't hesitate to reach out. We are here to serve. In the meantime, peace out. Have a great life.